Hey, what's up, guys? So this is what I do on the weekends. I figured that it would probably be good to go over this with you guys. This is why I love to use Edge to Trade. It has this history feature that you can start plugging in filters up here and change it for whatever you want. Um, for me, I have actually I want to change this because where's the float between numbers. We're gonna drop this because I want to see if actually. So let's look at this. So 60% close red, right? So I want to see if possibly changing this, say, to a 1 million float, change that. It actually had better results by going for a lower float, which makes me wonder, am I making the right decision by uh, not trading stocks that are under 5 million share float? From what this data just showed me, no, I'm not doing the right thing. So the other thing is, I like to go through this stuff and look at, what is the average high of day? 1036. Okay, so that's average high of day. Average low of day is at noon. It usually spikes about 40% from the open. So I start going through this stuff. Like, okay, so there was QUBT. Um, it was on this day. So I mean, how could I have played this? Really, for my setups, the only thing that I would be doing. Oops, is looking for right here. This would have been the only spot that I would take a trade at. So $4.80, $4.08, cover at 368. The thing that I'm trying to figure out though is the best way to do all this stuff, because one of my trades yesterday that I want to bring up was on this stock. And if you look at this thing is way over the price I normally trade at, right? And I remember this conversation I had with a really good trader. I think he's the first guy that's on my no, he's the second guy that's on my podcast, Kyle. And he was talking about how you don't need a ungodly amount of shares to make a good amount of money. This is one of my best trades of the month, and I think the most shares I had on this trade was, I think I had like 163 shares were the most shares I was in. I had 400 shares to use, but when it started to come up here, each one of these is 25 shares. And like what I did was at the very beginning, right? If you look at this, look at the pattern, right? This is what I'm looking for. Buy, 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 buy. First big sell off candle. Long wick at the top. Okay, cool. Now I want to see this thing. I wanted to chase down here. This is where my FOMO came in, but this is stupid trading down at the bottom. What you want to do is you want to see this long wick. Okay, it's coming up. It can't break over this high. Okay, cool. I take a filler. I got 25 shares in this thing. So in my head, I'm like, okay, this thing is a very, very high price stock. It just shot up from $8.50. It topped off at $11.50. Okay, so this thing's got range, right? But if you think about the game, right? These guys, somebody bought this from $8. They're gonna want to take some profits, right? Okay, cool. So this thing pops up here. That does not mean it can't go any higher. Like, this thing can go to the fucking moon, which is, I know people will say that that's stupid, but like, it can. And so for me, I was like, okay, I'm going to take 25 shares, and I'm literally risking $1 over my entry. Okay, cool. It fails again. Then the second starts failing. Add another 25 shares. This is a little bit low for the entry. I had another 25 shares. Now my average is like roughly, let's just say my average is right there. Okay, cool. It broke through my average. But like I said, I'm only in with 75 shares. I don't really give a shit. I like at this point, I'm risking here. When I took this entry, I'm risking like way the hell up here, right? The second starts working in my favor, and I had size instead of risking up here. Now I'm risking right here. Okay, well I added a little bit more size. Okay, honestly, at this point, I probably really was risking this because if this is also why I want to start recording myself because I want to start talking to myself while I'm trading so I can remember this like super clearly. Because when your emotions take over and you're in a trade, you don't really know what the hell you're 100% doing. Like you're in the moment, right? But when this thing pops up, I'm in 100 shares. At this point, yes, I am absolutely 100% risking right here. I'm risking like $30. This thing fails, pops down, add another 25, fell down. I covered some at VWAP because this is a place where a lot of people, beginner chat room bullshit will start telling people to start buying stuff. And I'm like, okay, well, I'm up a pretty good chunk already because if you look at the range on this thing, I started my entry roughly 1150. My first cover is over $1 away. So yeah, I'm already up. 1, 2, 3, 4. Like obviously the like this isn't gonna be 100%, but like I'm already up over $100, and I cover. I don't even think I covered half. I think I only covered a fourth right here. Then it pops up. I start seeing once again. Buy, long wick. Next one, can't pop any higher. Okay, well, what do? I start adding in size again. Fails, has a little pop back up into the EMAs. It's showing backside, add. This thing fails. I cover half, halts down. This is where I got stupid. The reason I added here, which I know this looks absolutely horrible, which in hindsight, yeah, that was probably not the best idea ever. The reason I added here was because this was a huge daily level, but it was a resistance point. Like it's going to be support, right? And I'm sure that they already thought, like, all right, dude, these guys are going to think that this thing's just going to fall down to 0, which I did. I added in size here. Wrist back up. I'm like, okay, I don't like. No, I covered here. Then I added size back. Now I lowered my average down to. I think my average was right here because when this thing started coming back up, I was like, dude, I don't like this. It fell that down. I was like, okay, I'm going to trim off a little bit more size just to be safe. It curls back up. I stopped out break even. Why did I have to stop out break even? Well, because instead of just having my average like, probably roughly like, right in this area, by adding in a bunch of size, I lower my average way the hell down here, right? Well, what I have done is I should have drawn in a fib from here to here, and I should have been really like only adding like roughly around this area. Like just by looking at the chart, I don't have like exact points, but like this is another thing to kind of look at. Like this is a little sloppy. Whoa, my drawing's not the best. Let that delete. So this thing started popping up. Like okay, it goes over VWAP. It starts finding. Like I said, once again, buy, wick, sell. Another wick can't break over this. Okay, add size in right here, like what I did. The problem is I'm adding too freaking low down in here. I'm getting greedy. This is where the emotions start kicking in. I start making bad decisions, right? Because if I would just been okay with trading right there, instead of taking a break even, so this entry is roughly 1050s. My next target would have been 975. Okay, almost $1 underneath there. Like I know I'm in with at least 50, yeah. Okay, it's $50. Who gives a shit? Like that stuff adds up. My first target got hit. Almost my second target got hit, and then it curls up. Okay, whatever. Break even. You're out. Okay, well this never should have been a short. Why? Because that is the pre-market, or that's the high of day. This is mid-level, which is why I took it at there. But like, if you're looking at this, it's going up, low, higher low, higher low, higher low with a big freaking buy-up candle right there. Higher low, making a curl. Like this should have been a clear indication. Honestly, what I should have been doing is I start being present. I start seeing this happening. Okay, higher low, higher low, higher low. This big buy-up candle right there, and bounces and reclaims this. Dude, long this shit right there. And have a very, very tight risk. The only problem was I didn't have a hotkey set for buying in 25 share increments, because I'm not going to buy with 100 shares if I'm short with 25 shares. So yeah, I didn't long this thing at all, but like this is a clear freaking long, 100%. And I never should have taken this short. I was only in 25 shares. Yeah, I took a $25 loss, because I'm pretty sure that's about $1. This thing starts going up. I was like, okay, leave it alone. I remember this thing just ripping, and it like the price action, this chart does not give it, you should have seen the price action. The price action was insane, because it would stall out at almost every single 25, 50 cent, and all of a sudden it would just rip and then you could just see it squeezing the hell out of shorts. They're getting in way too early, and I was like, okay, dude, I want to wait. I want to see a clear indication. Well, okay, this is what I was looking at, right? This thing is got volume divergence. So lower volume, right? This thing just had a big blow off volume. I believe it was this stock. Then all of a sudden it ripped straight through there. I was like, okay, cool. I'm starting to like that. Well, when I start seeing this pretty big wicking action up here, this is 25, 30 cents. But you had to see the action of this thing up there. It started just slamming down. I was like, okay, dude, it's like somebody's selling into the break of $14, and these guys are starting to get trapped. Well, this is a huge amount of volume. The second that this thing opened, it popped a little bit and started slamming down. I was like, bid. I covered a little bit, and I start adding, because I'm like, dude, this thing might. Because I read the filings. These guys have an offering, which I'm sure that a lot of people that were shorting all in here and getting screwed up were like, dude, they have an offering. They have an offering. They have an offering from $2.20. A $2.20 offering. These guys could make freaking bank. At the same time, you got to think, what if you were in their position? You had an offering that you could use at $2.20. Why would you not want this to go as high as you could possibly get it? Especially if this is one of the hot stocks of the day, and this thing is just ripping. Really, it's screwing over longs, it's screwing over shorts, it's screwing over longs up here. Then it's, over here, it's starting to screw over shorts. I don't even know what this thing ended up at in after hours, but my whole thought process was, I wanted to have a home run. That's really what I wanted. But if I would trade this a little bit better, not even a little bit better, this was a freaking home run. Like really, that's the problem. Like I should be okay with what I had. I should not have been adding size in here at all because I lowered my average. That's another big problem. I started breaking my rules. Is the biggest problem is because my old mentor would always talk about these J line bullshit, but like really, nobody cares about anything except for shorting the tops and longing the bottoms. So what my theory is, I have no idea what this thing did in after hours, but I would imagine these guys, this is going to be in play next week, and there's no guarantee that these guys are going to do an offering, and because I mean they don't have to. They had cash, they have everything they need, but this kind of stuff. The one thing that I was thinking of was how good I did by having such small size. Like it sounds ridiculous. I went in with 25 shares, and I had the biggest day, at least short-in wise. Short-in wise, this is the best day I've had in honestly probably about 2 months. Really, this is the best day in about 2 months, and I did it all with 163 shares at maximum size. Maximum size. If you start doing this kind of stuff to where it's you add size while it's working for you. Like don't add size on weakness like I did down here, because then you screw yourself, right? You short the pops, you cover in the bottoms, and you start getting good at understanding price action and the game. Like these guys are making money. They're trying to make as much money as possible. And when a company does not need cash, they're in a great position. Imagine if you did not need cash. You had, I think it was like almost 2 million shares that you can offer $2.20, and this thing is up at $14. I mean, that is insane amount of money, right? But if you don't need cash, okay, hey, let's have a little bit of fun. Let's see how many shorts we can squeeze out and how high we can get this thing. Because at the same time, like, honestly, they probably did offer some shares. They probably did get rid of some of their shares, but at the same time, like, they also have their own shares. I don't know how that works. I don't know if like they can dump any of their shares at any time. I'm not entirely sure how that all works. I need to do a lot more research on like filings and how insiders need to, because I know they have to file something to show that they can sell their shares. But at the same time, I'm sure that I don't know. I would imagine that they could just buy their own shares, or I don't know. This is why I like to do this kind of stuff. I like to go back over everything and start figuring this out. It's like a puzzle, but for me, I think the biggest thing is I've been trying to go way too big, way too fast, and I think that this is probably the most fun I've ever had, like trading, since I've really been back. And like I said, this is with really small size, and I traded really freaking well. The only trade that I did not like at all was this trade, and this trade. So I have 3 trades I don't like, but I have 10, 14, 20 good trades, and that's what matters, is making sure that you don't screw yourself when you're wrong, and capitalizing when you're right. So I'm going to go back over and look at these charts and start retrading and seeing like, okay, what if I went in with much smaller size? Like, back to what I was saying before. I'm sorry, this is going to be a long video, but if you guys actually watch this stuff, I think that it could help you. But if you look at this, okay, so this stock opened at $3.60, right? Well, what was the high? $1 higher. Okay, well, what about this? This opened at 3. This was 40 cents higher. This is almost roughly $2. Okay, so this one is one to watch out for. Okay, what about this one? $1.50. Okay, well that's a big difference. $1. A little over $1. 30 cents. 10 cents. Less than 10 cents. 60 cents. 5 cents. 40 cents. Less than $1. 70 cents. 70 cents. 25 cents. Okay, so what is that telling you? For me, what it's telling me, at least, is like, okay, imagine that this thing pops up, right? Okay, you start watching it. Like, don't just short like right out the gate, but like, if this thing's gonna pop up, okay. Son of a bitch. Okay, so this thing pops up, has a stuffed candle right here. Okay, cool. That's at the 78 fib level. Okay, scale in a little bit. Say 100 shares. Because remember, this thing has a chance to go a dollar higher. Okay, like, see what happens. Scale in, it starts working. Okay, add a little bit more size. Cool. Cover down into the wash. Maybe even cover everything. Okay, cool. Like, you just had a huge win on one stock. This thing grips back up, starts, like, what is that? Like a quadruple topping. Yeah, like almost a quadruple topping. Okay, cool. We'll start scaling in. Okay, little size. Fails. Pops back up. Okay, add a little bit more size. In the money, right? This thing falls down. Shaves them off. Starts to come back up. Well, honestly, like, this is what I'm always saying is, like, the first time it returns to the area, that's fine. Once it starts doing it a second or third time, I would be getting out. I don't know. Yeah, this thing did rip back through. Good God. It did rip back through. But, once again, okay, cool. So this thing did rip back through, right? This thing starts going up. Okay, we'll start off with small size. Like, okay, say 50 shares or 100 shares, right? This thing pops up. Honestly, for me, like, what would this level be? $4. I wouldn't take this because it's 20 cents away from my main target. I'm not taking a trade for 20 cents. But when this thing pops up to here and starts doji, I would start scaling in right in here, right? It didn't hit my target. This thing did fell 23 cents. I don't know. Maybe you cut a piece off. Like, this, I'm trying to find a different style because I feel like my style of, like, holding or shorting and holding all day, it's not working. Because a lot of my friends that do the same thing, they've been getting their ass kicked. And this is the worst month of my entire career. So I'm trying to figure out a different way of going about things. And so for me, okay, well, how would I scale this in? How would I make this work for me and my thought process? Well, the second it starts curling, okay, it didn't work. Get out. Because for me, I am going to be very disciplined on my profit taking. I want to have a decent chunk of a move, right? I can get in up to, say, 400 shares maximum. That does not mean I needed to use maximum at all. Like I said, on the other stock that I just had the best day shorting, I was in a maximum of 163 shares. This is a $14 stock, though. Or at least when I first started shorting, it was like $9 or $10. But this thing starts popping up. Like, okay, buy. Okay, like, I don't know, maybe you start scaling in right there. It depends on how it reacted. But the second it starts holding like this, I'm out. Like, I want to see, like, really for me, I don't like stuff that has like these little grinder moves. I like this long green candle. That's what I like to see. I like to see a long green candle, another green candle, some dojis, some wicks. That's what I'm looking for. This longer green candle from 440 up to 460. That's what I'm looking for. I'm looking for that. Dojis, a fake breakout, right freaking there. Like this, I wouldn't even scale in. This, I would absolutely load the fucking boat because it's what I'm looking for. If you look back over here, okay, this thing opens, shoots up, stuffs hard, opens, can't push any higher. Okay, like I'm in right there, like risking that. Like how much of a range is that? 381 to 4, so 20 cents roughly. I wouldn't even get in. I would not get in full size there. I'd get in, say, roughly half size maybe. So I get in like 200 shares right here. Okay, 380. It's going over. It's got. It looks like it's forming like a double bottom right here. This thing opens, pushes, and starts slamming. I might slam the bid right here at 369. It goes down. That's only 10 cents though. But see, like that's where I have to factor things in. I have to have 30 cents to hit a target. Because for me, if I get 30 cents, even if I get 30 cents on full size, right? It's $120. Right now, where I'm at in my trading, that's what I'm looking for. I'm looking for $120 on average every day. Why? Because if I do that over and over and over, that's what is that? That's 500. That's $600 a week. So that's $1,200 over 2 weeks. That's $2,400 a month, which means that I'm almost back to break even after 1 month of good trading. Awesome. But if you have the same thing as yesterday, like really, I could get that back in like 2 weeks. But it requires really good trading and cutting things off and being very respecting of my risk, my size, right? This stock. Okay, so it has a topping up here. This is a pre-market trade, it looks like. But for me, I have no problem trading pre-market. And for me, I love this shit. I love fake breakouts. Like for me, I would absolutely be loading the fucking boat right there. Like I mean everything. So 400 shares, right? It goes down. That's almost 50 cents. That's even better. Like okay, like honestly, yeah, I would cover half and I'd look for more of a fade. Pops up, can't get any higher. I would almost guarantee that this is a fib level. Go from the high down to the low. 78 fib level. I'd add back all my size. Once again, cover. It hits the final target down here. Cover. Okay, it's 260 from. It's almost $1. That's $400 right there. So, for me, if you traded this correctly, that would be a freaking monster trade. Let's see, GOVX. Float 85 million. Perfect. This is a absolute green flag. Actually, I want to see if I can. But anyways, I'm making this a very long video. I'm trying to show you guys what I go back and do so that I have an edge. Like, okay, well, what's like before? My edge was okay. These things pop up a gap and crap, right? I'm looking for a gap and crap stock that is going to pop. Say this is the high. I'm looking to short right there. Where am I risking? Right here. Why? Because they don't normally break over there. They pop up a little bit and then they just tank down. Well, if you look at all of this stuff, this is not happening anymore. Like most of these stocks are making higher highs. Like if you go back to this stock, right? Okay, this thing's got a high. Okay, well it's not gonna break over that. Like this thing rips up. Okay, cool. And now it's just gonna die and just fade back down to oblivion. No, they don't. They almost always rip through the high of day. Almost always. And so for me, it's like okay, well. That's not a bad thing because that means that there's multiple opportunities. You just need to do things right. Okay, how are they trapping people? Well, doing fake breakdowns of daily levels, fake breakdowns of higher time frame levels. Then things to look for: a low, higher low, higher low, higher low, higher low with a big buy up. This is a huge indication right here. Somebody sold their shares and then sucked them all right back up, and then squeezed the shit with a cup pattern, whoop, and volume coming in, right? That's a big thing. Is like a lot of the times when you start scaling in long, you're gonna be scaling in with literally zero volume, which is sketchy as shit. Because when you have, how I've always learned is when you have little volume, the stock's always gonna go down. So you don't buy with low volume. The problem is if you start buying, when the volume started coming in, which would be on this thing, which is roughly right in here. For me, I wouldn't want to buy here because this is a whole dollar level, 11, and I'd be risking off of here. So I'm risking $1. So once again, like the same thing I did on the short side, I would need to make sure that I'm like in, okay, 25 shares. It's working. Cool. 25 shares. 25 shares. Okay, this took off. 25, 25, 25. Okay, is this going to go, like, but that's the thing though. Like this, right in here, this is where I'd be selling my my longs. Why? Because there's wicks. There's long wicks. It's roughly close to the high of day. This is like probably the 78 fib level. I'd be looking for a possible reversal at this level. I would trim some of my size. But the second this thing starts to squeeze, buy, because this is about to just rip people's faces off. And then you hold. At a certain point, you don't want to screw up your position like by doing this. Where's another stock that what was that stock that I traded? Move this over here. 1 second. I can't remember what that stock was that I traded. It was CYCN. Alright, so this stock, right? So this thing just rips up. I start buying at the wrong time because once again, this thing just ripped from $5 to $7, right? It's consolidated, and in my head, I got greedy as shit. I was like, all right, this thing, I'm going to risk off of here. I'm going to look for up here. First off, I was in with way too much size. This is the biggest one I've had in probably 2 years, honestly. This is the biggest win I've had in over 2 years. But because I'm in with way too much freaking size. At the same time, I could have made way more money by not being a dumbass. And so when this thing pops up, I got out, which is good. It starts making this like wedge. This is what I was looking for. It's either gonna rip up or rip down. It ripped down. Okay, cool. Well, it's up a lot. Like that's the other thing. Is like there's so many opportunities that it's easy to get confused. There's long opportunities, there's short opportunities, right? This thing starts falling up here. Well, what just happened here? You just had topping, it just failed. Okay, well, scale in very small short size, risking off of here, or even $1. Like imagine, okay, I get in here. This is 660. Okay, awesome. I'm risking 760, right? Then I add in a little bit more size, This thing starts to fail, more size. Well, once I start adding on the fail of a level, my stop goes down here. It starts going down, come back up. I start adding in more size. My stop goes to break even, or like at least lowers down to where, like, say I'm taking like a $50 loss. But you start doing that, like I could have had a ungodly amount of size and covered a lot right here. I could have had, if you look at this, I could add in, okay, 25 shares, right? 25 shares, 50 shares. This thing goes down, cover off 50 shares. This thing pops back up. Okay, add in another 50 shares. The 50 shares I covered here, my average would probably it'd be low, but this thing starts to fill down. Okay, cool. Add in 25, 50 shares. Cover half. This thing pops back up. Looking for right here. Doesn't go any higher. Cool. Short. Risking off that. comes back down, cover half. Okay, well now look at it. It's at open, right? I think I had the right indication on the open because it has a low, a higher low. Yeah, it's got a shit ton, or like really, it doesn't even have a shit ton of volume trapped above. The highest volume was 700,000, right? This thing starts pumping out like almost a million, like on the first candle. And then it just starts to rip. I think I had a very good indication, and especially when this started happening, long, covered, longed, covered, right? But then, like, if you look at this once again, like I said, most of them didn't break over pre-market high. This broke over pre-market high. It starts finding long wicking action. Can I not zoom in on this? Why can I not zoom in? The other one I zoomed in. Whatever. But anyways, doesn't matter. This thing has a long, like a fake breakout at this level, right? Stuff's down, huge selling volume. Huge volume, right? Okay, start scaling in right here. 25, 25, 25, 25, 25, 25, 25. Like, I mean, you can get in like 200 shares right here. But on this, honestly, after this huge blow off volume, I would have been in full fucking size right here. 400 shares from 760 down to, that's like 560. That's a ungodly amount of money right there. Just boom, right? But then, like, this is the thing to look for. Okay. Now, had a pop. Where would I be looking to recycle my shares? There. I'm looking for right around here. Why would I not be shorting down here? I would not be shorting down here because this is where they would start building up a cup, right? It's consolidating. My first target, my second target, and the VWAP are all in the same area. It consolidates basically from 10 o'clock until almost 1 o'clock. That's a huge accumulation. And then what do? They squeeze the shit out of everybody. And then once again, fake breakout of high of day. But then this thing, like, honestly, I don't even know if I would trade this, even with 25 shares, because this is like it's over $1 wick. Like, that's sketchy shit to me. So honestly, like, after this point, I would just leave it alone. Like, you know, and the other thing that I need to stop doing is, this is power hour. Dude, power hour, like, this one worked out really well. So I don't know, maybe I am talking on my ass because this thing broke over this. Okay, start scaling in a little bit of size. Like, I mean, say you don't even get in full size. Say I went in fourth size. Okay, I'm in 100 shares. Okay, cool. Cover 50 down here. That's almost $100. A little bit more, and then hold a piece. I mean, like, this faded all the way from like 940s to $5. You know, but like, this is the kind of thing that you need to go back and start rethinking this stuff and looking at this. Like, there's so many good opportunities. There's so many beautiful short opportunities, long opportunities, short opportunities, long opportunities. Like, even right here though, like, if you look at this, I don't feel like this is a bad short opportunity. I would have taken this. And the thing to look at is it's making the higher lows, right? So it's doing what it should do, but like, the other thing is, this thing's fading like 30-40 cents. Okay, you know, scalp off some of it, like 30 cents. Take off half. Okay, if it works, it's going to have another bounce back up. Just make sure that you don't lower your average. Like, say you got in here or here. You got in right there. Okay, cool. So this thing goes down, you trim off half. Awesome. You add back half. Well, now instead of your average here, your average is going to be here. Okay, cool. Goes back down, trim off half. Comes back up. Okay, well, now that's about to hit your average. Okay, like this, I'd be watching for. Okay, cool. Like, do you trade another half? Okay, so you do trade a half. It falls back down. This is almost like a 50-cent move. Okay, cut off half. Goes back up. The first time returning, I can trade it. Okay, cool. I add back half. I cover half. This time, break even. Why? Because this is also why I don't know if I would have got in on here, because it's got one breakout, two breakout, three breakouts. Like, I don't know. Like, the other thing is it's uptrending. Like, I wouldn't want to short down in here, but like, for me, that's probably like the safest, easiest trade is right in there. But anyways, long ass video. Hope you guys get something from this. This is what I'm gonna be doing all freaking day. My wife is at work, so I'm gonna go back because I need to start capitalizing on this stuff. And really, like, I really believe that this is there's so many people on Twitter and X, or whatever the hell you want to call it now. It technically X, but there's so many people bitching and moaning about the stock market. In my personal opinion, yeah, is this an easy market to trade? No, it's not. But I really feel like this is going to be the area where I am. Like, I really feel like this is going to be the market that just makes me. I feel like this is a life-changing market for me because I'm very discretionary. I was trying to get my system to be very systematic, but I think that I'm more of a discretionary trader, and how I get my discretion is by doing this kind of stuff. And so I'm going to go back, and I'm literally going to go through every single thing, and like, okay, well, what are the patterns? Like, I mean, look at these freaking cut patterns. Like, those are beautiful ass longs. What do you need to look for at the top? You need to see a shit ton of blow off volume and a lot of longs stuck. These guys bought the breakout of $8. Dude, load the fucking boat. Why? Because there's a ungodly amount of people stuck up here. You need to also look at the float. What was the what was the float on CYCN? This is why Edge of Trade is so freaking good, and this is why I love Edge of Trade. CYCN. It's got 2.5 million float. Oops. It's got 40%. It did not have 40% institutional ownership when I was trading it. So I would imagine that means that there's an institution bought into it. They got cash now. Congratulations. And they got 4 gaps. All 4 closed green, right? That's another big indication. Then the other feature that I absolutely love is this. What did it do in the past? Okay, well, this. The blue is a pre-market high. What did it do? Gap and extension. What did this one do? Gap and extension. What did this one do? Gap and crap. Okay, so two gap and extensions, 1 gap and crap. Okay, well, what did this one do? Well, this one just ripped people's faces off. This is the day that I traded it, and it had a huge gap and extension, right? The other thing is, though, what did it do after that? So it came from $236, right? Came from 236. What's it at right now? 313. Okay, so now it's in a long accumulation phase, right? How long did they go before they started doing gaps? Well, this was in the end of November. This is just a few days later. I mean, they seem to be having quite a bit of cash for quite a while, but I mean, do they have? This is another thing that I want to start doing is CYCN, because do they have any delusion? I don't know what the fucking S8 means. I would imagine So this is another offering. I think it's an amendment to. What is this? So this is why I need to start going through and start learning this kind of stuff, because this is good, right? So okay, so they do have 5.7 million shares, 429. I don't know how long these guys will go before they start to. I don't even know what this company is. I don't know. But what I'm thinking, and I'm sorry that I just made this much longer. But what I'm thinking of is when you start trading for a long time, you start figuring out like, okay, these guys, the way that small caps work is they pop up and rip people's faces off, and then they die, right? Well, so these guys from 422. So for me, 123. Like more right there is better. The fuck? Delete. $425, $428. It looks like it's making a higher low at $478, right? So I would imagine these guys are probably going to accumulate for quite a while because they just sold a ungodly amount of shares and have a shit ton of bag holders, right? Well, what I was thinking of is, what if these guys? I mean, eventually they're going to need more money. They're going to pop this thing up, right? Well, for me, first place I'd be looking to buy at is 228. That's where I would want this thing to go because it needs to close this gap at $2.28. I would be buying shares to hold. Okay, 228. Okay, so you buy 100 shares. Do the same thing. Start scaling in. Okay, 228. Say it gets up to 260. Buy another 100 shares. Goes up to $3. Cool. Buy another 100 shares. And wait for the next time it does an offering and it squeezes. Okay, cool. Yeah, maybe it takes a few months, 6 months. But if you have 100 shares from say $2. I'm not saying that it's going to pop back up to $9, but I mean, I would say that it'd roughly get around, I don't know, $5. That's a $300 win. Well, if you look at the average return on like everyone's talking about like a 7% return, right? You're gonna make quite a bit more money on just doing that over and over. Yeah, okay. You got two. Well, I guess what would that be? That'd be $228, right? Okay, you throw $228 into a stock and you just hold it. You let it sit. You have alerts on it. Okay, well, what would you want your money to get to? For me, I'd want that to at least double. Okay, so what would that be? That'd be $4.56. That's where I would set my target. The second that hits, cool. Like that's what I'd be looking to do. But I am also not just trying to make money off of 100 shares. Like I'd start scaling into my position, because imagine if you start building this thing up, over the course of 6 months. Say you put $100 a month into the stock. Okay, maybe you don't buy 100 shares each time. Buy 40, 30, whatever. Start finding these stocks that do offerings all the freaking time by going through the gappers. Like FFIE, I've seen this stock like a billion freaking times in the last, look at this. It's got 23 gaps, right? It's got 23 gaps, but 17 close red, right? That's great. But what is the average spike? 34%, right? You start looking at this stuff, you start finding, and like, look at this. Okay, so what's it do? So ever since, this is all during 2024. Like, no shit. I think I just found a potential swing candidate for me, because obviously I'd have to get through their filings and stuff, but so for me, oops. $1. What's it at right now? $1.76. Okay, well, I'm not risking 76 bucks on buying this thing, but for me, it's also breaking up over $1.50. It's got more support right there. I mean, this is about as low as it's going to get. It's got 46 million float. They don't have any cash at all. So, do they have delusion? They do. From the 2nd of December. $29 million shares. Hong Kong, China. I don't know. Like could I potentially see myself get in on this? Yeah, I could. Man, I wonder if this works. Oh, that's way better. Jesus. Alright, so support, it's going up, right? I'm pretty sure from what the thing said that it's got warrants where you can just pretty much offer it anytime. I'm pretty sure that they can just get whatever. I'm also not like super good at that stuff, right? So I'm not gonna pretend like I am some expert. But the levels I'd be looking for is 270s. Son of a bitch. 340s. 418s, right? So, would I technically long on this? I don't know about that. But it did just have a shit ton of volume. Some abnormal volume. Yeah, I feel like you'd be going for one of those levels. Would I buy it right now? Probably not. But what the fuck? So it looks like it just had a grinder of a day. Grinding up, had it topping out. Where's my volume at? What I would be, I mean, it's not going to go back down, to $1.33. I feel like this is getting ready to do a move. I don't know if I would buy it up here, but that's just one thing I've been looking at is like these things keep on making moves. Well, what if you bought it and just hold it and waited for it to do another move where you join the smart money, start buying? Okay, when was when was the last time this thing did a big that did not work. Okay. Anyways, oh, there we go. Okay. Start buying these things after they do a big move and they go back down in their consolidation period. Like I said, on this one, this thing's got 23 gaps, but I mean, it's literally done 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 gaps, right? Each one of these, in the pre-market alone, it has gapped, roughly damn near 30%, right? Okay, so you start buying this on the low, and I mean, if you look at this thing, that was every 2 weeks. 2 weeks. The second day. Another month. Another month. Another month. I would be looking for this thing to make a pretty decent sized move in like January. I don't know. I might just buy some of this stuff and see what it does. Not an ungodly amount of shares or anything like that, but like I could see this thing, going down. I might keep this thing on watch and start watching this thing, because I feel like that could be a very good way to start doing, swings. Everybody talks about learning swings with, like, big caps and everything, but for me, I don't know. You start getting good at this. Say, a year from now, I start getting comfortable enough to start putting some decent size on this stuff. You start making a big return. And if you know the game of small caps, what do? They pop up, rip people's faces off, fade back down, pop back up, rip people's faces off, fade back down. Okay, well, if you know that, what are the stocks that have been making the biggest moves and have been ripping a lot of people's faces off? Everyone's like, oh, that's on my no short list. Perfect. What actually, like, you start getting into people's discords, start looking up keywords. Off short list. Perfect. What is that stock? I want to long that, and start looking up things. So this is just what I'm doing today. I'm trying to wrap my mind around this stuff, because I really do feel like this is like sky's the limit with trading stocks. And once again, my brain is all over the damn place. I would not long up here, because how I always tell you guys, this is no man's land. You long towards the bottom, short towards the top. I can see this thing popping up towards 270s and rejecting. And I don't know. I'm hoping that, if this thing's going to make a move roughly, in January, then, I'm hoping that it gives another chance to dip by around, like, just under $1.50, around $1.25. I would absolutely buy up some shares, risking off a dollar. Okay, say it gets down to like 120. Okay, if I'm risking a dollar, I don't know, like, whatever your risk is that you're comfortable with. I mean, for me, like, I don't want to say that I'd go in with 1,000 shares, but I might. Could you imagine that? I mean, I don't know. Like, that could be something or scale into that. Okay, like, say you start off with 100 shares, it goes up 10 cents, another 100 shares, 10 cents, 100 shares, 50 cents, 200 shares. You start scaling into this thing, and all of a sudden it starts ripping people's face off. You sell just like the smart money does, and that's just a thought process. Obviously, this stuff is sketchy, because I mean, it's negative a shit ton of money, but I don't know. This is just a thought process. I'm just talking out my ass right now. So, anyways, this is a very long video. This is what I'm doing on a Saturday. So, cheers.